Hello! So today we are going to start this Rudolph the Reindeer collage. And collage is a French word for pasted paper. So we're going to be cutting and pasting or gluing paper to create this collage of Rudolph. And he's almost waving at us, kind of through a window maybe. Alright, so he's made up of lots of geometric shapes, and we're going to use those geometric shapes to create him. So can you tell me what geometric shape is Rudolph's head? Yep, it's a circle, you're right. And what geometric shape is Rudolph's arm? Well, his leg, I guess, but it's up waving like it's an arm. So what geometric shape is this right here? You're correct, it's a rectangle because it has two long sides and two short sides, so it's a rectangle. So we've talked about a geometric shape that's a circle, and his nose is a circle, his eyes are circles, and then his little jingle bell is a circle. And if you have time to include this neat little addition to your reindeer, his little berries are a circle. And then now we've talked about rectangles. So his arms or legs are rectangles. Where else do you see rectangles on Rudolph? Definitely, right up here. These antlers, his antlers are made up of rectangles. We've got longer rectangles and then we have shorter rectangles. And then if you can imagine the rest of this shape that's tucked behind Rudolph's arm, maybe I can peel this back a little bit, I can. What shape is Rudolph's hoof? What shape is that? You're right, it's a triangle, good job. So we're gonna be using rectangles, circles, and triangles. Doesn't look like we'll be using any squares today. All right, so the way that we start is you're gonna start with the background green paper. It's kind of a pale green, not a real dark green, not a real Christmassy green. And you're gonna need to write your name and the letter that you have art, day A, day B, day C. You're gonna flip it over, and we're gonna start with Rudolph's neck. Rudolph's neck's made up of a small rectangle, a dark brown rectangle, and you're going to put a frame of glue on the rectangle on the back. So not just a dot of glue right in the middle, but a frame of glue. And this is going to get stuck to the very bottom of the green paper right in the middle. So you're going to find the middle from left to right and then stick it right at the bottom. Now we need Rudolph's head to sit on top of his neck. So you're going to take this square piece of paper. So here we do have a square. So we talked about Rudolph, how there was no squares on Rudolph, but we are going to use a square piece of paper to do Rudolph's head. So you're going to get a square piece of paper and then trace around the circle pattern on the square. So now we've used just rectangle, we've used a square, now we've used a circle. And we're going to carefully cut that circle out, so try to stay right on your pencil lines. Remember, when you cut circles out, you turn the paper and not your scissors. So don't make your scissors try to go around the circle. Turn your paper and cut slowly so you get a nice, neat circle. So turn slowly, cut slowly, just so you have a nice, neat circle. Then you're going to put a frame of glue on the circle. So you're going to draw a circle of glue and you're going to overlap the top of Rudolph's neck. So this circle is going to overlap and go over the top of his neck. All right, so now let's do his hands, his arms. So I'm going to give you 2 strips for his arms. It looks like I have 3 here by accident. And I just want you to go ahead and put a line of glue on the back of each of the arms, and you're going to glue those at the bottom of the green going up, and they can kind of go at an angle if you want, but I would prefer if you make them an angle, pull that down so that the edge of that rectangle, the corner of the rectangle is right at the edge of the paper, and then you could flip this over and just trim the bottom. Then you're going to get a square piece of paper, so we've got another square, or if I hold it like this, it's a diamond, and you're going to cut the diamond in half, straight up the middle, so that now you have what geometric shape? You have 2 triangles. Good job. So just put a dot of glue on the back of the triangle and take the point of the triangle and slide it underneath the end of Rudolph's arms. Another dot of glue. Slide that underneath Rudolph's arms. And then we'll do his nose. So you'll get another square piece of paper. And this time you're going to have a smaller circle to trace around. You're going to lay that down in the middle of the red, or you could push it over to one side if you want. I think I'm going to push it over to one side so I have a little bit of red scrap left over so I can do the holly berries if I have time. So I push that over, and now I'm going to cut Rudolph's nose out very carefully. Cut right on the circle, right on the pencil lines, turn my paper and cut slowly. Dot of glue in the middle on the same side as the pencil so you don't see it. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to glue that. I'm going to glue it down, not quite in the middle of Rudolph's head. I'm going to glue it down a little bit so that I have room for his eyes. And now I'm going to do his eyes. So I have 2 white pieces of paper. I'm going to stack them together. I'm going to set the circle pattern right on top, and I'm going to trace around the circle pattern. And I'm going to keep, I only traced it once, but I want 2 eyes, so I'm going to take that second paper, keep it underneath the first paper, and I'm going to cut both papers at the same time. This will save me tracing and cutting a second one. It'll save me a lot of time by doing it this way. So now I'm going to put a dot of glue on each of the white circles, and they get glued above the nose. And so I kind of like to scoot them a little bit behind the nose, because you know deers, they have a snout that kind of sticks out, and the nose is at the end. So I like to put the eyes behind it to kind of show that the nose is in front of the eyes. And then you're going to use a black marker to add the black dots in the eyes. And I like to add just like an oval with a little highlighted area that I don't color in. I just leave it white. But you can color the whole thing in if you want. All right, and so now we're ready to do his antlers. So you're going to get some strips of brown. And I'm going to start with 1 strip of brown. You're going to take that strip and you're going to cut it in half. And then you're going to take the 2 strips and cut them in half again. Alright, so I'm going to take and put a line of glue on the back of the antler. I slide it underneath the head. I don't put it on top of the head, but I slide it under the head. And take the other antler and glue it down. Slide it under the head. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to kind of glue them at an angle. So almost like a bent arm, like elbows. Then I'm going to take another brown strip. It looks like we only need 2 brown strips. Cut it in half. And cut it in half again. So I'm going to take 2 of these. And I'm going to put a line of glue on the back, and I'm going to add those going the other way, almost like making the letter Y. And then these last 2, I'm going to cut in half one more time. So I've had long rectangles, shorter rectangles, and now I'm going to have even shorter rectangles. And I'm going to glue these at the tips of the antlers. So I'm going to lay them down, put a line of glue on each one. And then I'm just going to add them sticking off the sides. 2 on one side, 2 on the other. And there's his antlers. Now, you could officially be finished with this assignment, but if you have time, well actually no, you wouldn't be officially finished with the assignment. What I want you to do, the final step I want you to do, is you're going to flip this over. You're going to put a frame of glue on the back, and I want you to glue this to the red paper, to another piece of red, and I want you to put it right in the middle. Don't put it up at the top where you have a whole bunch of red at the bottom. So try to find the middle, try not to make it crooked, and glue that down. So at this point you could be finished. But if you have time, you can add some additional details to Rudolph. So remember my first Rudolph, I had a little holly plant and I had a jingle bell around his neck. So if you have time to do that, you can do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of green scrap paper, you're going to fold it in half, and actually you don't really need to fold it in half. Just take your green scrap paper and you're going to draw a holly leaf on the green scrap. So you kind of start with a V, or an upside down V that looks like this. So if I turn it this way, I have kind of a V shape that's curved. And then I do a curved line, and then another curved line over here, and then I turn it around and I do another curved V like this. Now if you can't do this, I'd be happy to help you. No problem, but I want you to try to see if you can do it first. Then you're going to cut the holly leaf out. And you can glue that onto one of the antlers. I'll glue that up here. And then that red scrap paper, remember how I took my circle and I put it up to one corner? I'm going to take this red scrap paper, I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to draw a small circle on the red, and I'm going to cut that out. And when I cut this out with the folded paper, I get two little holly berries. And I'm going to put 2 dots of glue and glue my holly berries on. 1, 2. And then if I want to add a green collar around his neck, I'm going to use this green scrap that I have here. That'll reach actually across pretty good, but I think I'll cut this direction. So I'm going to cut out a rectangle. Will that reach? Yeah, it reaches perfectly. So I'm going to glue that down, and then if you want to put a little jingle bell on there, ask me for a gray piece of scrap paper. And you're going to draw another circle, and you're going to cut that out. A tiny little jingle bell. Put a dot of glue on the collar, glue the jingle bell down, and then use your permanent marker again, the same marker you used for the eyes, you're going to use for the jingle bell. You start with an X. Draw a big X in the middle of your jingle bell. And you could leave it that way, but if you want it to look a little bit more like a real jingle bell, you're going to add a little dot or circle colored in on the end of each of the ends of the X, like that. And then that looks like a real jingle bell. And then you have officially created your Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer collage, but I forgot one very important step. When I glued my reindeer onto the red paper, I covered up my name. So I've got to flip this back over on the red, and I've got to rewrite my name because it's not on the back anymore. And then the day I have art, day A, day B, day C. And now I have my Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer geometric shape collage. We used rectangles, circles, and triangles, and then we also use square pieces of paper to create a lot of our circles. Good job.